So before we start today, it's really important to say we are not trying to infringe upon anybody's copyright.
Anybody's what?
Copyright, trademark, intellectual. Look, we got dinged somehow by Facebook that we were infringing upon somebody's short story last week. Somehow. Something we said knocked off the copyright police on Facebook on somebody's short stories. That's Seth. I'm Sean. This is our own little game. We are not infringing upon anybody. So, Facebook police, this is just who we are. Just who we are. So,
okay, that's just random.
So, with that in mind, we're here. Stephon Diggs is in Houston. Marcus Mariota is wearing number 0. The Lions have matched the 49ers offer sheet to Brock Wright. The UFL, well, we knew you, and you're still going on for some reason. 4 out of 5 of the Buffalo receivers in 2023 are no longer in Buffalo, which is amazing. And the Bills are going to take a $31 million dead cap charge for Stephon Diggs. So all that is secondary to the fact that I may actually win an NCAA tournament this weekend in a pool. So I'm in the money if Alabama wins. If Alabama beats UConn, I'm in the money. I'm either in first place or second place. So it's not a lot of money. It's $240 or $120, but it's still money, and I don't have it right now. So yay, good for me. And it may pay Seth's fee for my taxes, at least like 1/3 of it.
$130 is paying your fee?
I said 1/3. I said 1/3.
Okay.
1/3 of it. 1/3 of it. If UConn wins, then Purdue has to beat UConn. So if UConn beats Purdue, I win nothing. If UConn beats North Carolina State, I win nothing. If Alabama beats Purdue, I win. If Alabama beats NC State, I come in second. If Purdue beats UConn, I win. If Purdue beats Alabama, I win. If North Carolina State defeats UConn, I get nothing.
Are you done?
And if North Carolina State beats Alabama, I get second. So go Alabama.
Did we really just spend a minute and a half talking about the 7 different ways you could possibly win money?
8 different ways. 8 different ways.
Wow, I thought I was tired before this.
I'm pretty tired. I get it, but my baseball team's 0-4. So let me ask you this, Seth. Is it possible that I could possibly have a worse calendar year, March to March, than for my sports teams than I have this year?
Absolutely.
Really? So I had a Mets. So let's start last March. Last March, spring training, I predicted
the Mets to go to the Super Bowl, to go to the World
Mets to go to the World Series, and the Mets finishing second to last place. All right. Mm-hmm. Syracuse gets demolished in a bowl game.
But they went to a bowl game.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. They don't make the tournament, right?
That is true.
The Jets, on the 4th play of the season, lose their entire season. The Islanders are probably not making the playoffs.
So, really? They fall that far off?
Well, they're 1 point out. That it would take a lot. It would take and they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything to show that they are capable of doing it. So chances are they're out. So of all the teams, and then the Knicks, who should be in the conversation for best team in the East. This past week, Josh Hart says we don't expect Julius Randle or OG to come back this year at all.
Oh, I actually didn't see that.
That's what Josh Hart said. That doesn't mean everybody. That doesn't mean the players have. But so of my teams, the expectations were here for all of them.
Were your expectations there for the Knicks?
In January, they were when they got these two guys.
Not when they start.
No, but when they got these two guys, look, you go 15-2 in January, your expectations kind of go high. I mean, They are 15-2 with OG Anunoby in their lineup. That is sparkling. And now they're in fourth place. They played the Magic in the first round.
Well, that's certainly who would you prefer to play?
Oh, the Pacers.
Fine.
Defensively, the Magic are the toughest team defensively in the East. Defensively. So
yeah, because they're very long and they're very athletic.
And if I got, let's see here, I got what, 2 scorers on my entire team? If Brunson doesn't score 61 points, Victor Wembanyama scores like 55 and they lose, right? So anyway, all right, let's get back to Final Four, both men and women. And I'd like to say the women's games were definitely more eventful and definitely more popular, certainly got more eyes on them than the men's games this week. And I enjoyed, well, you can watch Caitlin Clark all day and be amazed by the depth in which she shoots. She's changed the game, Seth.
Yeah.
She is to what she has done to the women's game what Stephen Curry did to the men's. Right?
Because if you watch her play, the way she passes, it feels like Curry. It feels like Curry. It kind of does. The shooting from 30 feet away. You know, who is that? It's Curry and it's a Lillard. That's what that is.
Yeah.
But the way she passes, she is yeah, she is amazing to watch. And watching her, that LSU game was phenomenal.
And it doesn't matter. And the comparison to Steph Curry is more along the lines of she doesn't care. Like, it doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter who's in her face. It doesn't matter what time of day or when in the clock this shot is. I'm just going to shoot it, and it's going to go in. She, unfortunately, does not take the best shot of this week. If you saw Luka's scoop from 3 points.
From, like, the foul line.
I saw that live, and I was like, and again, I've been watching a lot more NBA than I think I ever have before. And I said it was originally because of LeBron, but I think truth be told, I think it's just because of the amazing talents that are in the NBA, singular talents. Like, you see Victor every night, you see Luka every night, you can see Shea some nights, right? Like, the individual talents in the NBA, I think every team's got one. And I can't think of another time where you could say that. Every team has a guy that I would pay to watch. Maybe Charlotte with Brandon Clark, I wouldn't pay to watch. But I mean,
Brandon Miller
and the Wizards, right? The Wizards probably don't have a guy that I'd probably pay to watch. But I mean, overall, the NBA talent is extraordinary right now. Maybe the most talent that we've ever encountered, soup to nuts. But let's get back to the 4 teams in the NCAA Final Four for the men. So you watch Purdue, right? And you see the big guy. And I'm just calling him the big guy because he's as big as they come. And Seth, I don't think he translates well to the NBA. And I'd struggle having been more involved in the NBA this year than probably any other year since I was probably 22. And Larry Johnson hit a 4-point play. I struggle on a nightly basis to see where the big guy could fit in the NBA and what teams he might be able. I'm not sure he's a starter in the NBA.
I don't know either, because as you said, the game has changed or if you didn't say, we've discussed offline how the game has changed. And it's more, the athleticism may not be there. But when you have a guy 7'4" with that passing ability, that rebounding ability, and that shooting ability, there is a place for him. But I see him, and I think we talked about it. I see him as a rotational player, a seventh, eighth man somewhere, who's going to be able to. I think now again he will be exposed defensively, because he will not be able to guard the pick, and he will not be able to guard.
So we're talking about Zach Edey, by the way. For those that are not aware, it's Zach Edey, the center from Purdue. So he's 7'4", right? And he's got a huge wingspan. But Seth, the only comparable person in the NBA to him is he is a better offensive Rudy Gobert. That's it.
Well,
I can't find
if that's your comparison, then you're doing okay.
I agree. But again, look, Rudy Gobert had to fight for the team to win, right? Not just for him to be the guy. Rudy Gobert needed to find a team that worked with him, right? And how
didn't Utah work with him?
In the regular season, but come playoff time, it didn't work at all.
Right, but we're not. Look, we're talking two different things. You're saying you don't think he can be a starter. I can understand the argument because of the lack of athleticism and speed. That's going to crush him against, centers who are 6'10" who can run laps around him.
Sure, he's also a less athletic than Rudy Gobert too.
Yes, but he is a good defense. There is a place for him in the league.
Yeah, I think there's a place in the second unit. I don't think there's a place.
Well, I said I think he's a rotational guy because of the lack of athleticism. But I also think while there's an issue on one end, I do think there is a place for him somewhere. He's going to be a problem on the other end because he can pass out of the post.
Yes.
He does have a good post-up game, which I realize is not as relevant as it may have been 30 years ago, but it's still there. So there's a place for it because so few people have it.
Well, he's a
back to the basket guy.
The perfect spot for him is a backup to Jokic, right?
Yeah.
That's the spot.
Sure.
I mean, if you're going to throw a spot, right? Because he does less than what Jokic does, but does similar things to Jokic, right?
Yes, and Jokic is the best player in the world.
No, and I get that, but Jokic is the best. The only reason that works in Denver is because Jokic is the best player in the world defensively. Now, he's not the best player defensively in the world, but his defensive limitations are okay because he is the best offensive player in the world.
Right.
Again, I don't think Edey becomes the best offensive player in the world.
No.
Thus, the defensive limitations are a little bit striking. Now, let's talk about the guy that you are going to compare him to in this Final Four. That's Donovan Clingan, and I think he has a spot.
Because he's a better athlete. He's a better defensive player. And his movement allows him more flexibility where he can fit in.
Correct.
He can play differently.
Correct. I don't see – if you look at Edey, I'm trying to think of where – again, does he doesn't fit in with the Lakers because Anthony Davis is running with the 5. He doesn't fit in with the Warriors because he can't move that way. And they need Draymond Green. Maybe the Clippers, like that's a good place for him where you play 5 out, right? With him being Zubac's backup. Like that works. Look, the Suns would love to get this guy, right? Because he'd be talent. But they don't have a first. But I don't think they have a first-round pick this year. So I don't know if the Suns have a first-round pick or did they swap it? Is a swap this year? We'll take a look at that. But hold on, 2024. Hold on a second, please. 2024 out. Nope, outgoing pick. Washington has the right to swap. Oh, they do have theirs. Then Memphis has the right to swap, and they get the third best of all those picks. So they'll get a low-round pick. Do you see that he goes in the top 20, top 15 in the draft?
No, I think he'll go lower than that. I do think he'll be a first-round pick.
Well, the funny thing is he's a known commodity, right? This is what you're getting. This is entirely what I'm not sure how much more upside he has compared to where he is today. So I think it's what you're getting. All right, moving on to some of these other guys. So Mark Sears, yes, please. Can you please run a little slower so I can catch up to you? Fastest guy in the tournament. Alabama is a joy to watch. I love him.
Well, that's why everybody wanted Nate Oates 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that's how he plays.
Yeah.
That's how he coaches, excuse me.
So between him and Tristan Newton, those are the two best guards. And then you come up with the guy that I feel that will not even play in the NBA and will probably be catching passes from Justin Herbert next year. And that's DJ
Burns. Well, DJ Burns going to be you think he'd be a tight end?
Why not? If Antonio Gates could be a tight end, why can't DJ Burns be a tight end? He might have to slim down a little bit.
He's got to lose about 40 to 50 pounds.
Okay, then make him a nose tackle. I don't know. I mean, this guy is...
he looks like a football player.
This guy is... And the funny thing... Look, I love watching Burns.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny to watch Burns, and I'm not exactly sure. I mean, Jokic said, I think he's so skilled, especially lefty. Seems like teammates like to play with him. That'd be a good guy to get. Well, I mean, his ups... I think I like him because his ups and my ups are about the same. I mean, but he does his shots always go in. Like it will be interesting watching NC State play Purdue because I think Edey's the one guy that could push him off that spot.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that he has had going for him so far is that nobody has been able to push that guy off.
But you thought Filipowski would be able to.
But Filipowski is a stick.
But he is 7'7"
Right. But Edey is not a stick. Edey is
like 7'4", 270.
He's a big dude. But Burns is a big dude too. And look, we talk about this every week and how the allure of basketball has gone down due to the transfer portal. And part of that, you look at NC State and not one person that has gotten minutes in the last two games has played for that team from their freshman year. They're all transfers, every single one. And that's the way it's going to be going forward, for better or for worse at this point. That's the way it looks like to be going forward. But I think at this point, I was talking to an NC State fan this morning. Who was
an NC State fan?
I do. I work with one.
Okay.
She was thinking about going out to the game. And I said, well, you snoozed a couple of days too late because you should have contacted me beforehand. I would have told you how to do this. This would have been a whole lot cheaper on Friday or Saturday than it would be today. And I think it comes – she said, look, I said, does it bother you that none of these guys have been there more than 2 years? And she goes, my team's in the damn Final Four. What the hell do I care? And I was like – I look at it and I go, she's not wrong because I think the same way. So would you.
Yeah. But you're not going to look at the team. Look, if they won a national champ, if Syracuse has 5 new guys in, which let's be honest, that's a distinct possibility, and won the national title next year.
Yep.
Would you enjoy it? Absolutely. Would you be probably running naked around your apartment complex or throwing tequila shots? Probably. Would you enjoy it as much as the 2003 championship? No chance.
No chance. Well, it's also in a different place in my life. But yes, I get your point in that I would not enjoy. You are not going to get another Jerry McNamara at Syracuse. You are not going to get another Juan Dixon at Maryland. You are not going to get another Vince Carter at North Carolina. you are not going to get another Doug McDermott, right?
Yep.
Or something. Maybe McDermott. I mean, he played at a smaller school. I guess that's possible. But the fact is, you're not getting the 4-year players anymore, or even a 3-year player
No, you're not.
at these schools. Yeah, by the way, before we move off of college basketball, at least the men's game, congratulations to the aforementioned Jerry McNamara, who is the new coach at Siena College.
Siena. Yep.
And I will tell you, you want to know how beloved he is by Syracuse fans? There are more likes on his Siena post than I have ever seen in the Syracuse University post, period. He is beloved. He is beloved. I can't tell you how much. Seth, I got to go for 2 seconds. Please take over. I will be
Okay.
right back.
So usually that's me because usually that's the wife calling me off. So I'll take advantage of this while I can. It is strange to kind of look and you look at these games. Purdue, NC State, it's there. I mean, it's not a game you notice, but like, look, NC State, 11 seed, gets in flukily to the tournament because they hit a miracle 30-footer against Virginia in the quarterfinals of the ACC. Then they beat Duke. Then they beat North Carolina. Okay, you're an 11 seed. Then they make all these runs. And the irony was they would have played Houston. If Jamal Sheed doesn't get hurt, Houston beats Duke by 15. And we were just talking about kind of the irony of the NC State run.
Yeah.
You agree with me. There's no way Duke is, if you saw any of the first 10 minutes of that game, Duke's not beating Houston if Sheed's healthy.
No, of course not. But that's the game, right? I mean, that's the game at any point. So yeah, you're talking about the bank shot in the ACC tournament, right? The difference between Virginia going to the NIT and NC State going to the Final Four. Okay, great.
And though it's a great story. Do you think they beat Purdue?
No, not a shot. But I will tell you, I've bet against them. I had them winning up until the Sweet 16, so I guess I had them that far. But I've had them losing the last 2 games, so more power to you. Look, Cinderella runs are part of what we wanted, right? That's the beauty of this. That's why. Now, you want the Cinderella run out of, I don't know, what is St. Mary's of the Poor. You don't necessarily want it from a Power 5 school. You want it from the Oaklands and the Monroes and those guys. That's generally where we talk about Cinderella runs. But why is this any different? It's not. This is a team that should not have been in the tournament and would not have been in the tournament had they not won the ACC tournament. They won the first 4. They've been playing more games than anybody else, and they're just on a run.
Was NC State in the first 4?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the game.
Yeah, I thought so. Hold on. I'm almost sure they were.
I mean, they were 11. I don't remember, to be honest. I don't think so.
Hold on. I thought they were in the first 4.
First 4 was Virginia, who crapped
the Final 4. Hold on.
And then Colorado, and then
all right, Virginia, not them. Right. So they would have been in the first. Correct. First 4. Heck is the first one. No, they were in the first 4. South Carolina against NC State. Wait, this doesn't make sense. No, that's women's basketball. It's been a long day. It's been a long day for you too. I understand, but it's been a long day.
By the way, NC State, Connecticut, both making the Final 4 in the men's and women's.
You know what? Fantastic.
Wait a minute. NC State didn't make the play-in the women's. They were a 3 seed.
No, I didn't say the women's. I was.
Yes, you did. You just said the women's.
No, I said I was on the women's bracket.
Okay.
No, they were not in the first 4. The first 4 were Wagner, Howard, Colorado State, Virginia, Grambling, Montana State, Colorado, Boise State. My mistake. They were not in the first four. That was the difference between Virginia being in the first four and NC State being in the first four was a bank shot. That's what the bank shot to win in the ACC tournament. That's what people have been saying. So anyway, you know what? They've been on a huge run. They won, 5-5 for the ACC tournament. They haven't lost yet. It's a great story. I'm okay with it. Like it's great. Let's keep doing it. And so now we have. I don't think they will win though. I don't think any. First of all, I picked Purdue to win the whole thing, so I don't think nobody's beating Purdue anyway, as far as I'm concerned. So, do you have them beating NC State? You have Purdue beating NC State?
Yeah.
And what about UConn and Bama?
I mean, I have UConn. Look, I don't think anyone's going to take Alabama, but I'll be honest. Alabama gives everybody fits. I know. Well, you're doing it because you really want because you win your pools.
No. I would if I'm picking the game, I'd pick UConn over Alabama. I think UConn would beat Alabama, but that's going to be a much more in my opinion, a much more interesting game than the other one. That game's going to be up and down.
Well, that game's going to be fun. I don't know if it's going to be close, but game's going to be fun.
Right, and I think at this point for me. If I'm not winning money, I just want fun games. So I mean,
yes.
and that would be an incredibly fun game. Okay, so let's move over to the women. So the women's bracket, we saw Caitlin Clark against LSU in what was supposed to be the return, right? But not really the return.
Yep.
Right? Nobody. Even Caitlin Clark said it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It was a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal.
It was a pretty big deal. Angel Reese, by the way, announced that she is leaving LSU for the WNBA. No surprise.
I'm sure Kim Mulkey is really shedding tears over it.
I don't know. Wouldn't you be?
I would be, but again, I'm not Kim
second
Mulkey.
or third best player in women's sport, in women's basketball. 6'3". I mean,
she's phenomenal. She had a really good game against Iowa. I mean, she went for 17 and 21, and she pretty much dominated the first half.
Yeah, the problem with the different, she plays a different game than Caitlin Clark, right? Caitlin Clark makes her own bed, and Angel Reese needs somebody to feed her the ball. And if you saw throughout the entire game, she was saying, "Get me the damn ball. Get me the damn ball." Now, let me ask you this. Do you have a problem with somebody saying that?
No.
Okay.
Have you ever watched a wide receiver in the NFL?
And have you ever heard me say I'm good with that? Because I'm probably not. Like, I guess my point is how much, if you are, how dominant do you have to be to say that? Because if you're on a team with Michael Jordan and Jim Paxson says, "Give me the damn ball," are you going to be okay with that? No.
No. But Angel Reese is not Jim Paxson.
Well, and I guess that's my point.
In the same sentence.
Right. Well, that's my point. How many players in sports are you okay with them saying that?
Look, up to a point, yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, you're not going to hear Caitlin Clark or Juju Watkins or Paige Bucher say it
because they handle the ball.
Because they handle the ball.
Right.
So there's not an enormous amount of players who say it in college basketball, because the players who have that mentality typically are handling the ball in the first place.
Correct.
You don't see Jack Edie saying
a bad rap for doing that.
What'd you say?
Do you think Angel Reese got a bad rap for doing it?
No, I think Angel Reese got a bad rap because she did everything else, and she's gotten all this celebrity, and then likes the celebrity and then doesn't like what comes with the celebrity. I think that's why she's getting a bad rap.
Okay. So we got South Carolina against NC State. South Carolina has been dominant this year.
No, they haven't.
No, this year they haven't.
this year. They have not been dominant in the tournament.
Correct.
They were not dominant in the SEC tournament. I mean,
so they beat. So in the Elite Eight, they beat Oregon State.
Oregon State. They were up. They were winning by 4 with like a minute to go.
Yep, they beat them 70-48.
No, they didn't.
70-58. Excuse me, 70-58.
Right, but it was a 4-point game with a minute to go.
Okay. So are you picking NC State over South Carolina?
No.
Okay. Just making sure we're on that same page. And then on the other side, well, we have the matchup, right? Paige Buchers against Caitlin Clark. And it's not Paige Buchers versus Caitlin Clark. It's not.
But it's Paige Buchers versus.
But it is. This game will be more highly watched than the finals. Do you think that this game will be more watched than the game that just ended?
No, because it's a Friday night.
That was a Monday night.
People are home on Monday nights.
Okay, that's fair.
Home on a Friday night.
That's fair. Okay, so all right. So who? First of all, I didn't get your winner for the men's. So you have Connecticut versus Purdue, and who is winning that game?
I'll pull for you, buddy. I'll go for Purdue.
That means your fee gets paid easier and quicker. So yes, you should pull for me.
If my fee was a problem for you, then you have a lot bigger problems. And I know a lot of your problems. You got a lot bigger problems than that.
Okay, and in the women, Iowa or UConn?
Iowa. Connecticut's too injured and has no depth.
I was going to say, this is kind of me and Michael Jordan, right? It's like, I'm not picking against Michael. I'm not picking against Caitlin, at least until she proves me otherwise. And I will pick Iowa to upset South Carolina.
As well, I don't think it's even an upset.
You don't think so?
South Carolina will be favored by 4 points. That's not an upset. Upset is NC State winning the next 2 games against Purdue and UConn. That's an upset. Okay. That would be the greatest run in the history of college basketball.
Better than the UConn run with Kemba.
Oh yeah. Miracle to make the tournament.
Yeah.
Run through the region and then beat most likely the two of the top 3 teams in the country all year.
And you're an 11 seed on top.
And you're an 11 seed.
Yeah.
But Kemba's run was against terrible teams.
Weren't they a 6 seed too?
They were an 8, I think.
8.
And they were they beat Butler, which was this was their back-to-back championship.
Yep.
But Butler was like a 6 seed. They were not anything of special.
Okay. Okay. I will go with you on that.
In the single worst championship game in the history of the world.
In the world. Wow, that is a big look at that. The worst championship in the history.
Can you take me off for 2 minutes?
In the world. Just to throw that out there, in the world. There was some statistics around how much the previous game was, the women's game was watched, and I'm trying to find those for us all. They were published yesterday. Just give me 1 second. Trying to find. I had it here. I apologize. Had it here yesterday. Had bookmarked it. And now I can't seem to find it. But yeah, the history of the world. That's great. I love that. Darn it. Feel a little lost here. My Lord, I had it. So anyway, with that in mind, yeah, I will go the same route. I will have Iowa winning as well. I also have Purdue winning. I really like to win some money once in a while. I mean, I don't win very often when it comes to sports. So, and certainly not sports gambling. Yeah, maybe this was Monday that I found this. My Lord, this is taking forever to find it. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. So Monday's ratings were 12.3 million people watched Monday's Iowa LSU game on ESPN. And just to give you a little idea, so the Super Bowl was 123 million. So that is 10% of the Super Bowl watched Monday night's game. However, Monday night's game was the most watched women's college basketball game ever. That's first and foremost, ever. I think Seth's back. So Monday night was the most watched college basketball game ever for women. Okay, it was on cable. It wasn't on national television either. Okay, it outdrew the clinching game of last year's World Series. Wait, it also outdrew all but one of the 5 games between the Nuggets and the Heat in the NBA Finals.
Your mom.
On top of that, I guess that's my mom that is calling Seth at this current time. We'll put Seth back up. Oh, I guess not.
Hi, Arlen.
Hi, Arlen. There we go. And then the Stanley Cup ratings were nowhere close. I mean, you look at the ratings that these guys had and you say, okay, women's basketball has finally made it. And you hope that it continues, right? Seth's smiling. Look
She
at
did
that.
not. She did not want to come on.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Seth, do you think that this is a trend or an anomaly?
What? I literally was just on the phone with my mother.
So the ratings outdrew 4 out of 5 NBA games.
No, it's an anomaly. Because look, you had the 4 most charismatic players in college basketball, men or women's.
Yep.
Playing at the same time, playing on the same night.
Yep.
So you had Clark Reese,
Bugers,
which is a rematch of a national title game.
Yep.
Which doesn't really seem like it was overly contentious. No one really gives a crap about this. But it became the media made it a bigger deal than it probably was.
Yep.
And then you had Bukers and Juju Watkins. So you had literally the greatest night in women's college basketball history. And not only did you have that, you have one of the least interesting men's college basketball. Even though it's been a fun tournament, we've talked about it. Nobody knows who anyone is anymore.
Yep.
So it doesn't have the same pizzazz to it. Like everyone knows that UConn was their defending champion and the favorite going in, and people know Zach Edey, but most people can't name one player in Alabama. And before the tournament, there was no one anyone could name on NC State. So it feels like that this was kind of a destined kind of thing.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's unfortunate.
The only way you see that happen, see that run back, again, look, I don't know the college game like the women's college game like I used to know the men's college game or like I know the pro game.
Sure.
But I do know damn well if next year we saw a rematch in the Final Four of Bukers versus of UConn USC, and you see Watkins versus Bukers, and they're as good as they were this year, that'll draw.
Okay.
But you're not going to see the random teams are never going to draw the same way.
But you don't see those in men's basketball either, right? The random draws you don't see that either.
No. I think last year's championship game was the least televised.
Well, and that's also part and parcel to you have how many options today than you used to have, right? You can
Right.
watch anything at any time at any place. And no, that makes sense. Okay. I want to move on to something else. And before we get to the NFL, it was announced today via sources that Jerry West is being inducted into the Hall of Fame again for the third time. So he was inducted as a player. He was inducted as part of the 1960 Olympic team. And now he's being inducted as a contributor for being a general manager for the Warriors. Consultant for the Warriors, general manager for the Lakers, consultant for the Clippers.
Oh no, he got it. Didn't he get in as a general manager for the Lakers already? That was the second time he got in.
No, second time was no.
1960 Olympic team?
Yes, 1960 Olympic team.
Okay.
So when John Madden died, we said, has there been anybody that has contributed more to the NFL than this guy? Can you put Jerry West in that bucket? And if not, I'd love to know who you do. Who do you put in as the...
You can't.
Is there a most influential person? I understand Madden gets more for the video game than he actually
Yeah,
gets.
that's why. Nobody under the age of 30 knows who the hell Jerry West is.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. So it's Michael, Magic, or Larry, right? It's A, B, or C.
And I mean, really, generationally, now it's Michael.
It's Michael.
Because we remember Magic and Larry.
Yeah.
But we're now older than the demographic they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly sad. But
well, it's also incredibly sad that last night at the Sixer game, Allen Iverson was courtside and nobody was going up to him. And
really?
Like, how do you? There was one player, Kenyon Martin Jr. or Kenyon Martin II or whatever, was the only one that went up to him, and I think that's only because his father knew who he was. But it's like Allen Iverson is sitting there courtside, and I'm like, huh? How are you not? How are you not, as a basketball player, going up to that guy? And look, I don't think very much of Allen Iverson as a person, but as a basketball player in Philly, that guy's like
most influential, could have been the most influential player almost ever. For what he brought to the, not in a commercial kind of way, but
I'm thinking Wilt was the most influential player.
No. I'm not talking in that dynamic. Okay. I don't mean that changed the game. But the people who have such love for Kobe, prior to Kobe,
sure, that
love all was Iverson.
Well, I will tell you one thing also. He is one of the most influential college players of all time and has absolutely nothing to do with his play on the court. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Probably not. I know
Allen Iverson is the reason for Proposition 48. Yeah. And that's not a good thing, but he's the reason. So Proposition 48, ladies and gentlemen, was something in the 1980s and 1990s. It still exists. That you need a 2.0 GPA and a 750 on your SATs, or a 2.5 GPA and a 700 on your SATs. I know the SATs have changed, so I'm sure that dynamic has changed. But it was to prevent John Thompson from basically recruiting inner city youth that did not go to class to play basketball. And it was racist, completely racist. And nobody brought it up at the time, but was completely racist. Totally pushed towards a demographic that would not be tolerated today. In my opinion, would not be tolerated today. So, but yes, he is that influential. Okay. All right, moving on. Something happened. So we talked about the NCAA. We'll move over to the NFL very quickly. Seth, what is the Buffalo Bills doing?
They're rebuilding.
Around Josh Allen, obviously.
Yeah. But, there's no other reason you trade unless Diggs had made such a stink. And look, he's a Maryland boy. I've got love, but he is a top 10 receiver still in the league.
Okay.
The only reason, and his salary is, I think, was it 18 million?
Yeah, let's remember it was 18 million, and he was probably going to create a stink out of that, right? So
Probably, yeah. But as of now, he's still 18 million,
yep.
which, as weird as it sounds, is a deal.
Yeah, it's underpaid for a top 10 receiver if you consider him a top 10 receiver.
They lost 3/4 of their secondary. They lost their center. I think they see this as we've had 3 years to make this run. It didn't happen. And now, look, I'm convinced the year they lost to Kansas City in that amazing divisional playoff that they would have won the Super Bowl.
That they didn't get the ball, right? It was
The reason the OT.
So they have $54 million of dead cap this year, which, truth be told, is only $7 more million than Matt Ryan took. But still, and I think that's actually even with Russell Wilson. So Diggs takes up 12.1% of the overall cap. The overall NFL cap he takes up not to play on this team this year. That's how badly they wanted out of that deal.
Yeah.
And they got a second-round pick, which we know where that's going. Obviously, they have to draft a wideout because their number one wideout right now is Curtis Samuel.
Did they sign Curtis Samuel?
They did. They signed Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel, they signed to a 2-year, 3-point. Wait, no, he got a signing bonus. Did he get a signing bonus? I guess he got a signing bonus. Hold on. He got a 3-year, $24 million deal with a $6.9 million signing bonus. Man, it must be nice to be able to run because Curtis Samuel was a bust in 3 different places and still is getting that much money. And now he's the number 1 target with the Buffalo Bills. Look, the Bills traded in the draft this year. I think they still have their first round pick, I believe. They got an additional second rounder out of this one. Hold on, do they have their first? I'm sure they do. They have the 28th pick in the draft this year. I think they made a trade. They went 11-6, so they have the 28th pick in the draft. Houston decided, hey, I can't get that wide receiver in the second round, so I'll trade for one. And wow, that team looks very nice, very, very nice.
That team looks like a championship caliber team, offensively at least.
I think their defense is just as good. I mean, remember, they just got Daniel Hunter that plays.
That's right, for the Vikings,
along with Will Anderson, right? I mean, they are a stacked team in a division of no stacked teams. They should run through that division. Run through it. I mean, who's challenging them, Seth? The Cardinals? The Cardinals. The Jaguars? The Colts? The Titans? None of those are Titans to me. Not when,
I don't know. Let's slow our roll a little bit here. I mean, look, they do look like the favorite, but we've seen this before.
This is true. But I mean, they stacked up with Joe Mixon as their running back, right? Their wideouts are Diggs, Collins, and Tank Dell. Their tight end is Dalton
Schultz.
Their offensive line is led by Tunsil and Shaq Mason. Defensively, Anderson and Hunter on the outsides, Autry and Fatuxi and their secondary is Stingley and Okuda, if he can stay healthy, with Desmond King as the slot and Jimmy Ward as the safety. Dude, I get that this reminds me of the Philadelphia Eagles from Vince Young days, but they did everything they needed to do to be a Super Bowl contender this year. They moved that time frame up. They realized I got CJ Stroud on a rookie deal in his second year. Where can I put other money to make this a championship team? Name me 3 teams that you would take over them in the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. Because I can't.
I can't.
The only one that I would put in their class right now is the Chiefs.
Does that still hold if Rashee Rice is out or in jail?
As long as he is not driving me, I am fine. No, actually, I know I'll get there very fast. I just may get there in the body bag. But yeah, I think so. And I think Buffalo, truth be told, looked at what Kansas City did this year and said, why can't we do that? Why do we need a $19 million Stephon Diggs when if I got a quarterback as good as Jared Allen, look at what Kansas City did.
Josh Allen.
Sorry, Josh Allen. Can't I do that too? I think a lot of teams looked at that and said, why can't I do that too? And then looked at the teams that had those great expensive receivers. I'm looking at you, the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm looking at you, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm looking at you, the Cincinnati Bengals, right? All teams that didn't get to a championship game or the Miami Dolphins with
superstar receivers.
With superstar receivers.
Yeah, but based on that theory.
I'm not saying the theory's right. I'm saying they look at
that theory. Why are people paying wide receivers $30 million a year?
Have you seen one this year been paid $30 million a year?
Who is that? What? I mean, the best wideout out there was Mike
T. Higgins has not been re-signed, right? He went to a franchise contract. Justin Jefferson is up for a new contract. He has not been re-signed. He's up
for next because him, Chase, and Lamb are all free agents next year.
And none of them have been re-signed to $30 million a year right now. And maybe, just maybe, they all go the teams say, we're going to go year to year with these guys and see what they can produce. And for Justin Jefferson, I think Justin Jefferson is a little bit different because if you rather than the other two, because who else is in Minnesota you're gonna buy a jersey to? I think he's the face.
Joe Mauer.
Well, I'm saying he's the face of that franchise. Yeah, he's the face of that franchise.
Rodriguez?
Chuck Foreman. He's the face of that franchise. I don't think is Jamar Chase the face of that franchise? No. Is CeeDee Lamb the face of that franchise? No. But if you look at what the Cowboys did, they are going into the season with Dak Prescott in a $56 million contract and taking their shot there. I don't know. I think you may be seeing the rolling back of wide receivers. Remember the last 2 big wide receivers the Chargers, instead of extending Keenan Allen, traded him, and instead of keeping Mike Williams, let him go for nothing. I know that was a cap crunch, but they could have kept one of them without any problem. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. Go ahead if you would like.
Should I start with talking about Sean's mom?
No. Please no. Appreciate that.
Nothing too exciting to talk about. I'm just kind of looking at the ESPN highlights. Women's Final Four tickets double the price of men's.
It's
Katie. That doesn't cover. By the way, is this more than what we've ever covered from a women we've never covered women's basketball like we've covered men's?
No. Never. No, and that says something. So I think if you
can we talk about this stupid Fox new Fox tournament? to try and get rid of the NIT.
There's a stupid Fox tournament that's trying
Fox
to
apparently is coming out with a end of year tournament.
Yeah.
That's going to try that may end the NIT.
And anyway, with the transfer portal.
I think it's the silliest thing I've ever seen. The NIT is having enough problems. What makes people think that Fox, because what they did is they mandated that 2 teams from the 3 conferences that Fox covers have to play in the tournament.
So once again, money rules all. I would like to point out, congratulations to the women's. Look, sometimes you see the obvious and you don't make the change. The women's governance committee has moved up their thought process. Right now, for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, for women, it goes to the higher seed. So UConn hosted their first 2 games this year in the tournament, and so on and so forth. And sometimes you don't know that till the day of, right? Or the day before, or the week before, the week before. And what happened in Spokane this year was that they ran out of hotels. So teams had to bus 30 to 45 minutes from I think it was Idaho, to play in Spokane, Washington. And that's ridiculous when you are fielding a team. So They saw the problem. They're going to address the problem. And I think they're going to be just like the men. They will have different regions for different regions on a year-to-year basis.
Quickly also, congratulations, Vince Carter and Chauncey Billups have been elected to the NBA Hall of Fame.
Yep. We can discuss that next week because I don't agree with Chauncey at all.
Do you see Chauncey Billups as a Hall of Famer?
Nope. I see Chauncey Billups as a 16.6 assist player.
Good player.
But if nothing else, Luka's scoop shot should have made the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I went back twice to watch that. I was like, there's no way that guy does that. And kudos to, I think it was Steve Jones that was doing the play-by-play. He goes, most people do that in the key. He does that to the 3-point line, and it goes in. So, all right. This has been copyrightable of Seth and Sean. And if you think we're stealing anybody else's crap, please come and talk to us. That's Seth Kamens. I'm Sean Palmer, Seth and Sean Sports. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right.